Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Question Time, a live stream where you get to ask me any question you like about game dev, Unreal Engine, or anything you want to ask really at all. It's all totally up to you. What you want to ask, all you got to do is put your question into chat, and I try and grab as many questions as we can whilst we are live. So yeah, if I do miss your question, don't worry, just put it back in the chat again. Try not to spam it, but it should be okay. I'll try and catch any that escaped my grasp. Let me know if everything's okay. I've got the fan on because it's a bit warm in here, but let me know if it's too loud. I've got a gym bag on top of it to stop it from rattling too much, so hopefully it's okay. Good to see some familiar faces and some new ones. Hi everyone in the chat there. How you doing? Hi Turtle Tank. Hi Iron. Good to see you. Unit. Good to see you. Hi Lottie. Hello, hello, hello. Don't worry, no making fun of any questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question, just stupid answers. You're all good. Just waiting for Unreal to load up, so feel free to throw away any question you want into chat. I saw Turtle Tank asking about the possession system. We take control of NPCs, but can only jump to one person at a time. Take control of NPC, must return to visual body to take control of a new one. Yeah, okay, we can do that. We've done it before as well with a we've done a Let's Create of Mario Odyssey, and we did it in that. But we can go for the basics of the possession system in here, explain how that all works. Okay, Unreal is loaded up here, and we're good to go. Okay, so possession system. So first of all, you need things to possess. So I'm doing some very basic things to showcase this. NPC 1, and I'll create children of it like that. Like that. There you go, that'll do. And in here we'll have a mesh. We'll give it a static mesh, keep things simple, like that. And I'm just going to put it in front of it a little bit and add a camera to it here too. So, something that I can easily tell what the hell I'm looking at. So on each of these children, we're just going to change the mesh associated to this one. Repeat this one. Do a cone. No, stuff like that. Just so you can see it working. Sphere. Let's do a regular old sphere. Whoa. No. Oh, hang on. Let me just scale it down and detach the camera. NPC 1. I didn't mean to attach the camera to it. Compile that. Compile that. And compile that. Yep, good. Cool. Okay, so, what we're going to do is we'll put 2 of these NPCs out here. Okay. And we'll do a thing to say when the character walks up to them and pushes a button, we'll take control of them. So a few brief things of how possession system works. So when you join a game, you are a player controller. The player controller then is given a pawn to possess. This is usually handled by the game mode by default at the start. But we can override that process as well and do our own things with it. So for this to really work, you need your own player controller to have full control over what the hell it's doing. So I strongly recommend making your own player controller. And we'll call it question time. Like so. And we assign it to game mode. So I'm just going to go to the world settings and override it to use a question time player controller. So the way player controllers work is automatically, by default, they will change the camera that you're viewing from based upon what you're possessing. That is a default option. You can turn it off if you want. We're going to leave it on for this to make it a little bit easier to see what's going on. But it's over here, auto manage active camera target. So if you possess something, it just changes over to that thing. So this thing we need to have on our character. Oh, pardon me. Over here. Okay, so I want to push a button to possess something. Now, because we are doing a possession sort of command, you ideally want that command to happen on the player controller rather than the character, because the character will be switching in and out all the time. So it makes no sense to put it on the character, because you just have to replicate it for each character. So best to put it on your player controller. So if I go ahead and make a basic input system, we'll just do like the 1 key. Okay. And I will need this to, basically line trace out to find out who I'm trying to take control of. So we're going to do line trace by channel. And we're going to get the possessed, controlled pawn. Controlled pawn. And that will give you whatever pawn you're currently controlling. I'm going to get the actor location of that. And we're going to get the... I'll tell you, actually, we'll do it with the camera. That might make more sense because we're in first person. Player camera manager. Get the actor location. Get the forward vector for it. Standard line trace stuff. Where we add on the offset to get the endpoint. And I'll put a debug on so you can see it working. And if that hits something, that will return true. And we want to see the results of our hit, and in particular the hit actor. And we want to try and possess that thing. So first of all, we need to know, can we actually possess it? Because this could hit other things too. Now you've got a few things you can do. If you wanted it to be, you can control anything, then you could do a line trace by object type rather than channel. Okay, so objects here, you go object types and you make an array and you just put in pawn. In fact, actually that's what we should really do rather than the trace channel. Do that instead. Basically the same, just searching for different things. You could also do it by interface. So if you want to be able to limit what pawns the player can possess, so for example, in Mario Odyssey, you can't possess other NPCs. You can only possess enemies. So, how does that work? Well, you check to see if they've got an interface on them, or a tag, or something like that, indicate that they can be possessed. So to do that, we just create a little blueprint interface, possessable. Like that. And I'd give that to any NPC I want to be possessed by. So let's go over to here on the class settings and add the BPI possessable. That's all. Okay, back to our player controller. So the hit actor, I can see whether or not it is implements interface. That'd be our BPI possessable. And I now want to tell this thing to switch over and use that character. So the way that works is using the possess node. Okay. Before you do that though, because you want to make it so you have to go back to your previous body before you can possess something else, you need to store where your previous body is. So you can always go back to it if you need to. So the in pawn for the possession here won't happen just yet. Before we do that, we want to get the controlled pawn. And we're going to store that as a variable. And say previous... we'll call it main character. Main pawn. There you go. And then the in pawn will be our hit actor coming from here. Okay? This needs to be cast to a pawn type. You can make it pure cast. Totally fine. 22. Okay, so that'll try and possess that, and away it goes. Now, that will trigger any possession events you may have, and so on. But let's say I want to make a button to zip back to my previous body. So I'm going to do debug key 2. And I want to know if the controlled pawn is not equal to the main pawn. Okay, that means I'm not currently in my player. I don't want to do anything otherwise. So if it's not equal to, I'm going to tell it to process the main pawn, and I'm going to clear main pawn so it becomes empty. Back up top here, debug key 1, we only want to process other things if the main pawn is not set to anything. This is doubly true if you want it so you can interact with yourself again, like your ghost of a body that's still hanging around. You want to reprocess it. Down here, you want to check to see if the hit actor here is equal to main pawn, and it's valid, obviously. So if it's valid and is equal to the new pawn that you're looking at, that means you're trying to go back to your previous body. So in that case, we want to do possess main pawn and then clear main pawn. This part, the one we had before, this would happen on is not valid, and would also happen up here too. So if it's not the main pawn and we don't have a main pawn already assigned to it, we'll possess whatever we're looking at. That should do it. We'll test it out and we'll show ways of how to improve it further. Oh, I forgot. Because I changed the player controller, I need to make the bindings. Hang on. Get enhanced subsystem, add context, default. No, why is that not working? Oh, it's the wrong one. It's not that one. I don't know why they've left these older ones in there. Input, input, player controller, self, target. Okay, let me try that. There we go. Right, so if I go up to this thing and hit 1, 1? Why is it not working? Double check. It should be working at breakpoint. Yeah, it works. Okay. True. Okay, I've hit it that time. Hang on, what's going on? That was true. Input interface, definitely put that on there. Yep. 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 True. It's not valid. I'll come down to here. Add breakpoint. Don't know why I'm not getting the. I think the line trace is done wrong. Hang on one sec. Because I'm not seeing the line. Oh, I didn't say to change the line, did I? For duration. That would help. And also, I want to make these capsules here not hidden in game. There you go. Oh, I'm hitting myself. God damn it. Yes, because it's on a player controller, you have to make sure you on actors to ignore. You make one for the controlled pawn. Get controlled pawn. There you go. That would be why. There we go. Okay, and I can now see my character through those eyes there. If I hit 2, I'll go back to my previous character. Go to this one. 2, go back to the other one. Okay. And that's it. Obviously, give them controls as well. Whatever you need, but that's generally the possession system in a nutshell. There's a few things here that we could improve though, like make it a bit tidier, a bit cleaner, a bit more manageable. So, for example, we got this bit of code here that we've got a duplicate of. We've got it happening there. We've also got it happening down here. And that could be simply summed up as a return per session. Okay, so we clean up our code here by replacing things with functions. If you ever duplicate or copy and paste, chances are they could be better off as a function. Okay. Yeah. And then we got other things like the line trace. We can clean up as well. We can take all that there and output this, and I'll probably actually keep that there and collapse that to a function. Interact trace, for example. You know, it just cleans things up a bit. Okay. Yeah. Hopefully that gives you some ideas of where to go from that. Yeah, so, sorry, yeah, if the other one's got NPC behavior and you are unspawning it, good, cool. If you return possession and you go back to possessing your main pawn, if the other one's an actual NPC that's running around doing things, what you need to do on the return possession, you need to store what you're currently possessing. Get controlled pawn. We'll promote it to a local variable. L pawn. And go off to possess. And then reset the main pawn. Then on L pawn, you do spawn default controller. And away it goes doing its AI stuff again. So yeah, forgot about that bit. Yeah, if you got AI, that'd be it. To do spawn default controller. Okay, next question. Let's have a look at the chat there. Is the fan noise loud or is it okay? Not too bad, is it? Yeah, Mr. Nuck, what's the problem you're having with the switch on input thing? What's the issue you're having with it, if you know how to use it? Yeah. When is State Machine video out? I would say relatively soon, because this summer it's been a pain in the butt with kids in the house and trying to record stuff is near impossible. So hopefully next week, because the kids go back to school next week, I managed to film the final episodes of the skill tree this week. That'll be coming out. The state tree stuff will be coming out soon as well as more motion matching stuff where we talk about the gate and things. I'm gonna try and find a quiet. Let's scroll up here. How do you open a new level in multiplayer and have everyone sharp together? You need a server travel from Lottie, that is. So you just need to do execute console command, and you will do server travel, and you got to put in then the map URL. If you just Google server travel, you'll see more details on how it works, but it tells the whole server to travel with you. Yeah. Did you get that Mimic issue fixed? Yes. So lots of cool stuff has been fixed in Mimic. We've got that issue fixed. The role guide's been updated. The egg spawning's been fixed. I've been working my arse off on it this past week. So very exciting. Things are looking a bit tidier in that. Yeah, it's all good. Next. Next up, we've got Real-Time Fat Man. Hey Ryan, do you find state trees to be a serious pain like I do, or do they work fine for you and I'm just missing something? They're really good because they're really flexible, but because they're really flexible, there's a lot of nuance in them. So there's a lot more fiddling about. Once you get used to it, it's a little bit better. It's just another way of doing the same thing in a lot of cases. And you go with whatever approach is better. If you find yourself a lot easier to work with behavior trees, do behavior trees. State trees, though, do offer a lot more, let's say, flexibility to move around and change states on the fly a lot easier. So yeah, I've been experimenting different ways of using state trees. I've been doing like a dialogue system with them as well, experimenting with that. So yeah, it's just a learning curve. It is a little bit more to learn. That's because they just have that many more options. Okay, Mr. Nut, I'll explain a few things about their set input mode, which also might help a few other people. So, on input mode, you've got three options: UI only, game only, and gaming UI. Input actions, such as like IA move and things like that, they don't work if the input mode is just UI. If it has game and UI, or is game, works no problem. And that includes in widgets. If you put an input action on a widget, it'll work. If you go into pause mode because you hit the escape key or tab or whatever, and now you can't hit tab again to back out, that's a problem because now you've probably switched over to UI mode. If that's the case, just leave it in game and UI. Okay? And that way you can use your input actions the same across the board. The thing with input game and UI, it means that the player pawn itself will also receive those inputs too. And so you may want to tell it to stop stop all movement and disable its input whilst you're in some sort of menu widget if you want to. Yeah, that's basically all there is really to it. It's just, yeah, if you go into UI mode, you can't use any input actions. They're not used because the player controller is no longer receiving inputs. It's the UI itself directly. The player controller needs to be set to game mode for it to receive something. Yeah, you can also do key down options in the widgets as well to make things. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt. Wish it didn't have to do that, but yeah, you can do that too. I saw someone asking about PCG. Where was that? It's gone down now. Hold on. Low-key game dev. Hi, do you have experience with PCG? I'm struggling to get the most basic PCG volume with a grid of points on a single layer snapped to the surface below. I've got videos on PCG stuff you can check out that covered that sort of stuff. I don't know if it's enabled in the latest version. If it's not, I won't bother with it, but no. Check out the videos of how to... like the starting videos I got, it explains a bit more about how you sample surfaces and what kind of surface you're trying to sample. But yeah, check those out as a good starting point. M Gaming. Where was it? I lost it now. Everything shifted up. M Gaming Studios. Evening, Mr. Laley. Is it possible for you to make an AI companion that defends the player for enemies? Yeah, obviously. What would be the easiest way? I won't be able to make the full system because of time constraints, but I'll give you the rundown. AI companion. That's not how you spell it. There we go. So your AI companion will have AI running around and things like that. If you want to defend the player, they need to either... They've got a few options they can set up. One is they are going to respond to threats, like they see a threat, they'll go attack the threat directly without them ever hitting you. If you want, you can make them wait and play defense and only attack enemies if you get hit. If that's the case, it might be worthwhile binding to who they're trying to protect. So this AI companion over here, we could have on begin play, get player. That's not how you spell that at all. Character, bind event on damage. Player damaged. And then you can make them do their blackboard stuff, things like that. That's if you want them in defense mode. So they only attack if they are set to, if you are attacked and damaged. If they're responding to other AI like a normal threat, that's fine. Just make them do so. I'm not going to make it, but for example, imagine this is the controller. I mean, you can do it on here too. On the perception system, you'll do things like sight. So you want them to attack on sight. Like this. You have your affiliations all turned on because they don't work otherwise. And then when they get target perception updated, you need to check to make sure that the actor is an enemy actor, which is done by a tag or a interface or whatever you want to do. Inheritance. Some way to determine what's friendly and what's not friendly. Totally down to you. So you could do stuff like that. If you want them to attack whoever the player is attacking, then the player should have when you're dealing damage to the player. So imagine we're on the player now, and you've got your custom thing for attack, blah, and you go to apply damage to an enemy, blah. The damaged actor here, you want to promote to a variable, not promote to a variable, sorry. Damaged actor here would be a variable that you'd have your last damaged actor, or last attacked actor, last damaged actor, whatever. That way, then you can also bind that to your AI companion and say, hey, attack the same target as this. Yeah. Or if the player's locked onto a target, make it so that they share the same target based on locked on. In other words, you would want to set up a load of event dispatchers on your player character to help you have communication to and from the companion. That'd be it doesn't have to be event dispatchers. You can a direct reference if you want. But yeah, it depends entirely on the style of companion you're trying to go for. Obviously, these can be switched about in game 2 if you wanted to as well, quite easily. As I said, we don't have time to go into the full works of making it all work with an attacking system and so on. But hopefully that gives you a ballpark of where to go with that. Yeah. Like, you may want to make a generic team system to help with that stuff as well. So the idea of a generic team system is because the affiliation stuff doesn't work. So I would do an interface and call it teams or affiliations or whatever you want to call it. This one would be get team, and that will return a team. I was going to do it in integers, but you probably be best as an enum. Team int, for example. And on your characters, so let's say go here, add teams as a thing. The enemy is attacking it. Okay, so let's do a thing. Oh no, target perception updated. There we go. So we want to see if the team of this actor is different from the team of this actor, first of all. So you go get team. And get team of your own one. Or you probably have that stored as a value on here somewhere. Maybe. Like that. And you're comparing the two. So if they're not equal to each other, fight. You can also do things like affiliation with team as well. So if I go into here, we can do get response from team. I don't know. Bad naming, but it would do for now. So this would be my team. And the actor is going to be who we're attacking or querying. Like that. And the output for that would be the result, you know, I'm like hostile, friendly, whatever. So just do a string for now. This could actually be a function library, actually. Just thinking about it. Make life a little bit even easier. Get team response like that. Outcome. My team. Query target. Like that. And then, so on here, we're going to get the team of this one. But you probably also want to get a hold of, like, if you've got a specific affiliation to something. So you may have, like, a reputation such as not just hostile and friendly. You may also have, like, hostile, neutral, friendly, for example. Or hated or feared or whatever. In which case, you'll probably have several different team responses for various different things. So not just a team 1 or team 2, you have loads of different teams that you could have the occasion of. In that case, then, you want to get the team response to team. So that'd be an interface here. So we'll use the same thing here, but we've changed the inputs. So actually, I want to keep that output there. Response. And I mean, this also could be. I mean, it has loads of ways of doing it. It could also be in a component as well. Integer team int. Whatever. Again, should be an enum. But I'm whipping through this quickly. Yeah, so on here we get the we want to know who my team responses. Okay, so we'll have another input here for querier. Actually, don't need my team in that case. Then we just do querier. Get team response. Plug in the team there, kick out the response. So on the querier, so the AI companion, for example, they would have a get response for team. And you could have any sort of logic you want in here. I've done things in the past that use maps, for example. So we had a variable in here for like team responses. And that'd be an int mapped to an enum, or in this case, a string. And I can just get it out of here, find that, yeah. So the team response here would be, okay, for team 0, I'm going to be friendly. For team, oh yeah, it should be a map, stupid thing. Team 0 will be hostile, you know, and so on. So a few ways of doing the same thing. Yeah. That's good, Lottie. Good to hear. Hi, Phoenix Gold. Thank you for the donation. Can you make a toon shader like a post-process cube? Yeah, we've done that. We've done it a few times. We'll showcase how to do it. I mean, depends what you mean by toon. There's a few things you could do. So one thing you can do is, if you want to do a post-process, so it affects the whole entire thing, which to some extent is okay, but I'd probably, if I were doing it for an actual game I was making, I'd probably go into each material and edit the materials directly. But nonetheless, we can make it work for post-process and help do our best with it. So post-process material, we need the scene texture and set that to PP input 0 there. So you get the actual result coming through. Now, by toon shader, I'm guessing you want to get rid of smooth gradiated shading, things like that. So to get that, you need to remove the lighting data away from the color data, ideally. With post-processing, it's not as simple as that because it happens at the end, so you don't get all those breakdowns of individual layers. As far as I'm aware, you can't. So in individual materials you can, but in the actual post-process at the end, don't think you can. It's all wrapped up. You're just editing the final image. So you can do some sort of close thing to it. So you can do like a desaturation node, and that'll make it black and white. Like that. Yeah, in a sec. Sly Cooper. Yeah, let me have a look at the Sly Cooper game. I can't remember the Sly Cooper. Oh, so the outline. You just want the outline stuff. Yeah, okay. Hold on. Divide by 1. No. Hold on. I'm just getting fan art. One sec. Hang on. Why can't I get like high, large screenshots? Hang on. Size, large. It just looks like it's got a high contrast and not sharpened. Adding lines around everything. Yeah. Like, there's nothing really crazy with that art style in the actual game, though. Like, it's literally just a little outliner. Like, the actual textures and things like that are still... They're not cell shaded textures, really. They're just cartoon textures. I mean, I'll show you the outline thing. I've done it a few times now. I always forget how to do it, so bear with. Yeah, so it's done by scene depth stuff. So you want to get in using blur offsets. Blur sample offset. There you go. Yeah, they're not using many shaders by the looks of it. It's a lot of it's just the actual textures and models. They just made cartoon textures, which you obviously can do. That's not a problem. But yeah, that's the main gist of it. But if you want to do that outline thing to it, we have to get the scene depth like that, and we need to get the scene depth of each location on the screen. Okay, this is the bit I always get wrong. So We want to get the screen position in viewport UV, and I'm going to take the yeah. I can't remember now if it's this one or that one. We'll find out. You add them both. You add that onto each sample, and basically you're looking at all the pixels around the edges of where you're currently looking at. I think it's pixel position I want to use, but I could be wrong. Ah. Like that. No, I've missed that. Oh, that one goes there. So you're getting the A pixel, which is this one. You're getting the position of every pixel's UV coordinate, and you're then looking around it to work out if it's different. And you work out by it's different by averaging out the ones around it. So we're going to add these all up. Add these ones up, because you work out an average by adding all your components and then dividing by the amount of components you have. So we have 4, so 4 of them. And then we have a lerp, and that will go into the emissive color. The alpha here is the, I always forget this bit, is this divided by, or subtracted, it might be subtracted, I can't remember. That'd be the alpha. If not, I'll look it up again. No, that's not right. Try divide. No, I've done wrong. Let me look up again, save me time. I've done it like literally 2 weeks ago, I think. It's not that. It's nope. What have I done wrong? Oh, I didn't put in the textile size. So you have to tell it how much of it are you looking for. We're just gonna do 1 for now. There we go. Dope. Yeah, so it's just subtracted into the emissive color, and usually like, you would lerp it so you can get one or the other, or you ramp it, whatever you want to do. But if I want to do that around the object, the actual color of the scene, so I take the scene depth there and change that to post-process input 0. This will go into the lerp of the alpha. So when it's effing black here will be 0. So that want to be the actual color. And B, I want it to be the black outline, so we'll make that the outline color. And then put that into emissive color there. Oh, float 3 and 4. So that'll be because of this one. I'm just going to mask it. Give it RGB. Yeah, you get that. So so that is generally what happens there. So these little faded bits that you see here is because of the lerp that's going here. So the subtractive, we want to round it one way or the other. So just do round, and it'll make it 0 or 1. Yeah. And then you can change the size of the lines by multiplying this textile size by whatever you want. So if I do like 3, for example. You get thicker lines. We shouldn't still be getting that part. Rounding that to that. Why am I still getting this grey bit here? Let's try clamping it. There you go, clamping it worked. Yeah, so there you go. You can add black outlines and stuff. And to apply it to the whole scene, you just add it to your post-process volume, which I don't think they've got one in here. So go volume, post-process, go down to the materials, and take it to be unbound. And it should. Oh, it didn't hit apply. There you go. So you can get that sort of outliney, comic booky look to it. If that's your bag, you can do that. I just did the 4 directions, so if you want to get those little corners, you can do it, but all 8 if you like. Just be aware with the 8. You need to then divide it by 8, not divide by 4, because you're doing, again, the mean average. But, I mean, this is pretty close to what they've got in the Sly Cooper series. It's not... They haven't done much more with it than this. Like, you could do further stuff with it, such as playing with the saturation, maybe. So, I'd probably go in here, make the colours pop a bit more by saturating the... No, that's what I want. I don't want. That'll be fine. By saturating the colours, but also basically adds more colour to the same colour. To give it a bit more brightness. Like, not brightness, a more poppy feel to it. I should be able to expand that though, to add a multiplier for that. Saturation. Add a saturate node here. No. Like you multiply it by itself or power it. I guess that would make more sense. Power. You get that sort of darkened, like, sort of colour to it. Like, sort of deeper colours. I guess more Sly Cooper-y looking. Yeah. So, like, what the power node actually does, it just multiplies itself by itself. So, yellow multiplied by yellow will get double yellow, if it makes any sense. If such a thing exists. But it just makes it look like deeper in that colour than it actually is. It makes it look a bit darker. In which case you may want to turn the brightness up a little bit too. Change the exposure or brightness up. Compensate for that. You know, you tweak it however you want. Thanks, D Dark, or Dr. Dark, sorry. Glad it helped, Phoenix. Thanks again for the donation. Could you add that to a blueprint and drop it in the Discord? I don't have a use for it right now, but it's pretty cool. Which blueprint is that? What, for the line one? Yeah, I can do. I'll do it later on. Yeah. Iru Akin. I am making a car racing game and a lot of physics run on tick, which they would because it's physics. If the frames drop for some reason, the physics stop working properly. So how can we make it run somewhere else or fix it somehow? Physics, by their very nature, always will run on a tick. Yeah, just how physics work. You know, you can't say tell something to stop doing something for a little while. You can try and if you're talking about things like acceleration and things like that have been worked out on tick, that can be set to a timer to calculate what the acceleration should be, and then you can also use the delta. So for those who don't know, because I don't think people take advantage of it as much, on the tick node and other nodes of that type, whoops. Oh, I'm in a function. The delta seconds, what this actually means is how much time has passed between the last frame and this frame. So you can do calculations still when there's been frame drops, for example, based upon this. Yeah. So you could probably wiggle out something like that, maybe. Gabriel Clichy. Hi Ryan, I've got a question about texturing large environments. What's the best workflow to do this? I mean, it depends on the environment, but if you're talking a bit about like landscapey type stuff, landscapes you want to use like obviously their landscape painting workflow, but there are other things you can do as well to help beat repetition, because repetition is the biggest culprit with that sort of stuff. So let's say, for example, I make a landscape. And I'll just drop it below the scene for a second. Like that. And there'll probably be some element where you want to like automatically texture it based upon like normals and things like that. And then override it if you want to. That is something I normally would do. So yeah, if I make some stuff here, blah 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 blah, and then make a landscape material for it. Just landscape layer blend. I would usually go in here and make an auto layer, which is probably the default one. Okay. Preview weight I'll set to 1 so I can see what it's doing over here. And that'd be the base color, for example. Specular, I'll bring it down to 0. Roughness, bring up to 1. 1. And then the landscape layer coords. In the textures of them. So get a texture sample. That'll be a UV. Don't know if this has got the starter content in it. No. Hang on. Let's bring it in. Add the project. Trim sheets, yeah, so if you're doing things like large environments, like in terms of like indoor environments or man-made structures, things like that, trim sheets are really good for that sort of stuff. You can also use them for natural landscape-y type things, but it's not as useful. So yeah, look into trim sheets, they're pretty handy. Yeah, I mean, there's no shortcut when it comes to indoor, like, man-made modular systems. There's no shortcut for that. landscaping wise, there's a lot of stuff you can do in terms of automatically building it. Another good thing about landscaping tools and materials is it's easy to add foliage to it as well. Why is this taking so long? To make that speed up that process a bit. MKU. Well, I'm waiting for this to do something. It's freaking out. I hear so many people complain about Unreal Engine UI and problems with controllers and so on. Would you say that fundamentally do things wrong, or is the UI and UE not that straightforward? How about common UI? So the biggest problem people have when it comes to the user interface, building a user interface inside of Unreal, is they're not very organized about it, and they kind of just slap it all together and not think about anything else afterwards. It won't work. You need to think about and plan it out accordingly. The biggest thing about is the gamepad interaction stuff, and Common UI does solve some of those problems. But what I think people are thinking Common UI is this magical gift that just keeps on giving. It's not really. It's just someone's gone in and done that bit that I mentioned before about planning out and thinking ahead and all that stuff. They've done that bit for you, so you don't have to worry about it. So they've made some things in there to make life a little bit easier. There are some things in Common UI that they are bringing forward into the main engine, such as style assets. They're pretty handy. But it's mostly an organizational issue. People just put together a UI and not think about, okay, how's this going to work for gamepad? And be like, okay, kind of screw themselves over here. There are a few things that do bug me, and I wish they would address, such as like buttons, for example. A button, when it has focus, should also trigger hovered styling. It doesn't. I don't know why, but it's not too much work to make it do that yourself. It's really not. So you can do workarounds around it if you know what you're getting into. So yeah, it's it comes down to organisation. Don't know. I'm getting off tangent now. So that would be. Oh no, auto. That one was. This one would be grass. And we'll do another one for stone. That'd be grass there. I should really make this as well. World aligned blend. And we'll lerp that there. With the alpha, we'll put grass, which way around it goes, there. And make that one stone. We'll do basalt, that would be, there you go. Stone there, auto there. World normal, world position, no. No, that's fine, we don't want that. In world vector, that'd be 1, that's fine. Blend sharpness, so we just need to edit these two. Been a while since I've used this node. So, biased, we'll put as 10. It says, I think it's minus 13. There's like a way of doing this so it doesn't like mess around. Yeah, I want these other way around. That one goes there. That one goes there. So yeah, sharpness is obviously how the blend happens between the two. Blend bias is how much you want to give more weighting to it. And there's going to be a bit where trade-off happens, so you need to adjust one and adjust the other. So if I'm happy with the sharpness, which, yeah, no, that looks fine. I mean, I can always increase it to something crazy. Not that. Let's do 0. Not 0. 1, minus 1. That's because I've got this bias as well. No, it would just do like that, -10. And then over here, we tweak the bias so the normal of it turns to stone quicker. So we'll do 4. Something like that. Yeah, that'd be fine. Yeah, so you do that sort of thing. Landscape chords will go into there too. Yep, that's it. So then on our landscape, I'm going to give it that material. Like that. Go landscape mode, paint. And then in the target layers, you've got to assign target layers. Oh, you can also, there's a thing they added into this, I forgot to mention. They've added this thing. If you click this little button here, it looks at the assigned material and just builds them for you, which makes life so much easier. And then you have to give it the assets where it's going to store that data. So do, sure, why not? Put it there. And if I paint that all on, paint that all on. Like that. Might need to adjust the sharpness of it a bit. It'll auto adjust that. Let's go into there and just adjust that a little bit. Try 6 there. No, 5. Okay. Yeah, that sort of thing. So you could do stuff like that. If you what you should also do, because at a certain point it becomes quite obvious that it's tiled like this, and at that point you probably want to add some sort of noise to it to break up that tiling aspect of it. Let me also get rid of this post-process because it's kind of distracting. Post-process volume. Okay, so as you can see, the tiling becomes pretty aware. So on here, you'd multiply this. Oh, let's get it on its own. Multiply this by a noise texture. Okay, so you have another texture in here. There's loads of ways of doing this. This is just a way. So you get noise, Perlin noise, sure, and you chuck that onto there as a very basic example. Take that off there. Put that on there. Put that on there. Okay. This would be very crazy. You need to make it more subtle. Ooh. Hit the apply button. Okay, you get this sort of like pattern on it. But to get rid of that tiling, you just make the noise one larger. So you put in a U coordinate in here. Like this. Or you can use landscape coordinates as well and multiply it. And do multiply by, I don't know, 10. I think that's the right way around. No. Let's try 2. No, it's the wrong way around. It's negative numbers. Or fractional numbers, 0.1. There we go. So you get this sort of pattern break-in system involved, right? But then you obviously don't want it to be that patchy. Let's do that 0.01 like that. You want to dilute this a little bit. So we'll say multiply this by I don't know. Let's say I guess we could power it. I guess the whites become whiter. Or add to it. You can add to it. Really. So if I add to it, I'll do 0. Let's do 0.6 and clamp it. You get sort of like the patchy bits that just break up the model a bit. It might just tweak those numbers around and get something you kind of like the look of. Yeah, you know, things like that. to help break that apart. And then you can also do it with the painting of the actual grass onto it as well. But if you want to override something, so let's say I definitely want to make this bit rock, just click on the landscape and you can change it to rock quite easily. Just paint that over. Oh, I forgot to add a thing. There you go. Yeah, so I can paint that bit on. If I want to go back to auto, just paint the auto back on. You would have a number of these on here. You wouldn't just have 3 to add the extra nuance. But you'll see a landscape wouldn't be just this. It would be also a load of meshes as well to help make it not look crap like this. Another thing, I think I've shown it many times before. I'll go back to here again. Let me just import it in. Find it. Test mountain. Yeah, so I have this little height map that I use quite a lot of. It's a pretty good one. Use it as a height map in here to sculpt out decent looking environment. And because it's autoed, it'll make this look infinitely better really quickly. Let's just increase the size of it and the strength of it. It's a very basic landscape material. You typically make them quite advanced with lots of other little gizmos and gadgets in there, looking at normals and looking at what they should be doing, elevation maybe as well. You know, there's various things you could look at doing. Down a bit. And if you want it to be a hard cut-off between the two of them as well, which you may want, for like stylistic reasons, if you're going for that Sly Cooper look, you could also do this. So this lerps, this alpha here lerps between the two. You just again round it. You get the hard line instead of the soft line, and you get little patches like that going out of it, if you so wanted to. Yeah, there's all sorts of things you could do. Yeah. Trying to think what other quick ones you could do to it. Put it back, I don't like the look of that, personally. Probably change the sharpness down as well. -5, maybe. Bring it down to like 10. No, 2. 3. 2.5. 2.7. 2.8. Yeah. Hey Ryan, how would you approach picking up and throwing items at enemies with a whip? I'm feeling like stopping any logic, then using a physics constraint would work, but I wanted a second opinion. Not a physics constraint, a physics handle. But yeah, you're right. You'd stop all logic, turn the physics on, and use a physics handle to whip it around and do stuff. It's a lot more whip-ly looking. How powerful can widgets be? You can make a whole game in widgets if you really wanted to. Hey Ryan, do you have any advice for troubleshooting an animation? Been really stuck trying to get my character to draw their bow. I don't know if there's a good Discord for it or something where I can post the pics. I mean, you can try and get community help with it. Animation is always tricky because there's loads of ways of doing the same thing, so you may get different responses based upon what you've set up. And also how your animation is broken down. Hopefully you've got a begin draw a draw loop, so you're stuck in that draw pose, and then a release. In which case, you can use a simple state machine in that, relatively simply. I don't have any bow animations to use, at least at hand. Yeah. Any update on the new save system videos? Oh yeah, I meant to make those. Yeah, we're experimenting with the save system stuff. I still want to do a bit more with it because there's some stuff that I want to experiment saving with. So I managed to get it working pretty well, but I wanted to try saving states of stuff as well. So I'm looking into how we can do that without breaking into the C++ code of it and seeing if we can work with that. TBD on that. If we are going to record it, be obviously after summer holidays, because no kids breaking into the room, banging on the door, asking for whatever. You sent an advice question above. You can give me your opinion. Let me have a look up. Ignis is asking, in your experience, when you started a project that didn't have a proper base, for example, you were just learning a lot of the stuff, so not following best practices, is it better to start over or try to clean up the current code? A lot of work has gone into it, but the logic in code was figured out. So do you think it would be better to restart? I've done no level design at all. Everything I've done was focused around the main character and his abilities. The scope has changed, and some of the change would improve efficiency in case my brain decides to change scope again. Also, it would run better. Patch gaming debug modes. And oh yeah. Trying to answer it, but that doesn't involve the word "it depends." If it was me, probably yes. Truthfully, it matters how far. It depends on how far I've gone with it. So most of the time, though, I would be starting from fresh, and usually when I'm trying to solve a certain problem, I'm usually breaking it off into its own project. To R&D and work out what the solution, or if I need to learn something, I'll make a separate project for me to learn it in, and then take that learning forward into the main project. That's usually how I work. It's a little bit more future-proof that way. So yeah, if it was really, really messy and bloated, I probably would. I probably wouldn't even start again from scratch. I'll just migrate over the stuff I definitely need, and it would only if I migrate the levels, for example, it only migrates what it's referenced. So if I'm happy with the character and how the controls and what they do, if you just migrate just the character over, it'll bring everything else with it that is related to it. That is being used. If it's not being used, it'll be ignored and won't be migrated over. So that is a solution around that to make it so you're not starting from scratch. Vitrex, saw your video on multiplayer. How would I set up server clients in practice? Trying to get 2 game clients on different PCs network connected. I have got videos on network connection stuff. They should answer anything you need to do with that in quite good detail. If you're talking about the actual practice of testing multiplayer with like multiple machines set up, if you are going to do that, you need to make sure you also got 2 Steam accounts. You won't be able to log on to 2 computers at the same time with 2 Steams, so 2 Steam accounts. And other than that, that's it, really. So I have 2 Steam accounts. I have my laptop down here that I use for testing, and I have the main PC, obviously. But if you're talking about actually connection to the players and doing that, check out the video series I've done on that. I'm not going to go through it again here. as there's quite a lot involved. But yeah, check that out. Have you heard about? Oh, I feel like someone's asked me this before, but I can never remember the name. Is it the AI thing? Yeah, we looked at this last time. I mean, it's an image and video generator. Sure. They're all the same. Nothing really special about it. Again, with all this AI stuff, it'll get you a lot of the way there, but you will need to take it to the final furlong. You're not going to be able to make the whole thing in it. We will be doing a series soon, which basically involves me making a whole entire game using only AI, just to prove the point that you can't make a whole game with AI. But we're going to see how far it takes us. But yeah, we also on a serious note, we're going to be looking at how we can embed AI as part of our workflow practices in game development. Where could you fit it in different aspects of game development? So, as an artist, what could you do with that? As a programmer, what could you do? As a designer, what could you do? So there's various things you could do to improve your workflow or make it more efficient. Because that's what AI should be doing, is making you more efficient. There'll be some videos talking about my experiments with that and giving some ideas of how you could embed it into your workflow. Because if you don't embed it into your workflow, you're going to get kind of left behind, because it's one of those things that's like, it's not going to go away overnight. It's going to be around for a long time. So grab hold of it and try to figure out how to work with it. And that's what I've been doing. I've been trying to figure out how I can work with it in a productive manner. That is beneficial to me, not deficient. I guess I don't know what I'm saying. It's late, very late. But speaking of lateness, we should be calling it there. So thank you so much, everyone, for your questions. We will be live again tomorrow for a playtest of Mimic, one that should actually work. I've got it working properly, and it cleaned up a lot of stuff inside of it as well. Done some UI updates and fixes, made it look a bit more profesh. Yeah, so hopefully get really solid and we'll get an actual full game out of it tomorrow. Yeah, looking forward to actually getting that ball rolling. So join us tomorrow. We're going to be live playtesting Mimic. Try and grab some more footage and screen grabs to use for social media as well whilst we're at it. But yeah, if you want to join us for that, you can do. It'll be same time as today, but tomorrow. Other than that, look out for the new episode of Designed by Committee, a series, 10-episode series where you guys have designed the game with your random suggestions in a bowl of slips of paper, and I'm trying to make a game as best I can with those suggestions. So, yeah, look out for the next episode of that on both Patreon and on here. Almost at the end on Patreon, I think it is. I think we're on episode 8, I think, on Patreon. I said there's 10 in total. But yeah, check them out. Other than that, have a good rest of the week, everyone. Hopefully everyone stays safe and well, and I'll see you all next time. Good night, everyone. Bye.
About